An early morning view of Uspensky Cathedral, the Russian Orthodox Church in the centre of Helsinki. Hopefully we can come back later and catch it at nightfall, because I'm not sure, but just maybe, it will be all lit up and looking pretty. So it will be worthwhile. Not too far out of the way at all. Here we have the harbour front in central Helsinki. Now, having just got off the Viking Line 7 o'clock service from Tallinn, I'm now looking to jump back onto another ferry to take me out to Suomenlinna Island. Let's see how that goes. Just look at the sun dazzling off those spear tips at the top of the gateway and the fencing. Again, I've been blessed with a lovely start to the day. Hopefully the sun stays out for the whole day. Fingers crossed. And the market's in full swing already. So much to see and do in Helsinki, and never enough time. So I managed to buy my ticket from a machine for the next ferry service across to Suomenlinna Island, but even though they run in theory every 20 minutes, for some reason there isn't one at 10:20, and I seemingly just missed the 10 o'clock. Not sure how that happened, but it already left. There's nobody to ask in the ticket office. It's open, but just nobody working there. I couldn't get much information about the tickets and the possibilities. I already knew there was a one-day ticket which cost €8, but to just go across to Suomenlinna Island, I think it's €2.80 one way, €2.80 to come back, so that's €5.60. I don't intend using any trams or buses today, so instead of spending the full €8 on a daily pass, I would save €2.40 by just doing the there and back ticket for Sveaborg or Suomenlinna Island, however you want to call it. Now I've got some time on my hands while I'm waiting for that 10:40 ferry, which is a bit of a nuisance because I was hoping to get the 10 o'clock. We'll just look around the harbour and see what else is on view. Straight ahead, the Flying Cinema, a tour of Helsinki and Finland. Basically, it's a little cinema experience. I think they used to call them 3D or 4D experiences, or was it 5D or 6D experiences? You sit down with a lot of other people and it's on a moving platform. As a result, you get the feeling that you're flying over Helsinki at quite some speed, actually. It looks a bit too fast for my liking to really be able to appreciate it. It's not like a nice bird's glide over the city. Thrill seekers experience, for want of a better description. The platform moves, you get fake snow falling on you, you get wind blowing in your hair if you have any hair, to simulate the flying experience, as well as all the visual impressions of the city. What we're looking at the moment, just noticing the semi-naked people waddling around on the platform. We've got two little swimming pool plunge pools, as well as saunas. And it looks as though the saunas are indeed gender-based. The men and women go separately into the sauna and then can either choose the, in theory, warm pool or the cold seawater pool. but I have it on good authority that the warm water pool isn't warm. If you want to have that experience here, right in the middle of Helsinki harbour, that's an option for you. Close to the big wheel, close to Flying Cinema. Uspensky Cathedral's just on the other side of that building. And because the Suomenlinna ferry is just coming in, I'm thinking I don't have to kill any more time. This is probably a ferry returning to become the 10:20 service, which I was not seeing on the information board. So I'm going to go back and chance my arm. Hopefully I'll get lucky. Ferry's just bringing me over to Suomenlinna. Collection of 6 islands, which together formed a sea fortress for the last few hundred years. Over there is basically, I think you're only going over there if you have any interest in the Finnish Naval Academy, even though it's an attractive little white bridge which takes the eye and makes you want to explore a little further perhaps, but we won't be going over there. We'll be going this way. You can just see behind the trees perhaps there's a red brick building which is the little store for tourists and any of the 800 people living on the island who've run out of milk, for example. But just something to remember about the store: if you do pay in cash, don't expect much in the way of change, because they struggle a bit for small euro cents. So if you're buying something for €3.80, they'll not give you the 20 cents. So if you give them €4, that will pay for the €3.80 product you're buying. And there's a sort of understanding, I think, a relaxed understanding by the people on the island that most people just don't pay in cash. So there isn't the tiny bronze coins to give us change. And now we join the herd. The Beagle has landed, and it felt like just a 10-minute ride, even though it was a long wait. I'd hoped that this was going to be the 10:20 ferry, and it might have been, but it decided to just sit there for 20 minutes, which was a bit of a shame. We've lost 20 minutes, but could be worse. Weather's still reasonable. The boat wasn't rocking all over the place, so it was a smooth trip. Tourist information is right over there in this long pink building. There's also a toilet there, which is useful. Guided walking tours on Wednesday and Saturday in English, 1:30 in the afternoon. That's being advertised. And up behind this pink building, there's actually a hostel, believe it or not. So if you wanted to stay overnight on the island, that is possible in a dormitory bed. Not tried that before, but there's always a first time. No cars, no motorbikes allowed through this tunnel, so that's a relief. One less hazard we don't have to worry about avoiding. So I think we've got the hostel over there, and a whole lot of attractions ahead of us. Oh, more toilets. Can never have too many toilets on an island, can you? We've got some notice boards as well. Well now, isn't this an unusual church? Surrounded by what appear to be upended cannons. Yeah, an almost complete ring going right the way round the perimeter. Let's see if we can get a better view than this. Here we are, that's a little bit better. I can't go around the other side, unfortunately, which I think offers the best view, because at the moment there's some major roadworks going on there. Road resurfacing, perhaps. But something I read, this church is, I think, unique in the world, because it also has served as a lighthouse. Right up at the top, just beneath the cross. At night time, you'll see a light. We won't be sticking around for that. Interesting to have a dual purpose. And all those cannons, I guess, just mean it has the military aspect to it, because, like I said, this is the summation of 6 islands to form a sea fortress in the middle of the 18th century. The Swedes, who held reign over these lands, decided that Russia was getting a little bit too, well, potentially hostile, too much of a threat in this part of the world, this border. The Swedes decided to protect Helsinki by creating this fortress. The thing is, as with all of these situations, if it does come to a war and you lose it, you then find, there are new occupants, and they're the people you were trying to keep out in the first place. They lost out to Russia, Peter the Great, some 50, 60 years later. He undertook further strengthening of the fortifications. That continued through into the 19th century as well. I guess you can definitely say there's been a bump in the road here. Lots of works underway. Looks like a major operation going on. Signposting, not only when there are great big holes in the ground you want to avoid, but also which way you need to go, just in case you decide to stray off the path a little bit. Of course, what we might find later on is some parts of the island might be inaccessible, and they're the parts we actually wanted to visit, but you can only do so much without breaking the rules, can't you? So this brings a different dimension to the tour of Suomenlinna. Not what I was expecting at all. And just here we have the Suomenlinna main museum with shop and cafe. So if there's time, if I make good progress on the way back, I might pop into the museum shop, because I do like museum shops. It's one of those things where if you're not sure about, you want to go into a museum, and I'm speaking mostly about art museums now, but museums in general. What I tend to do is go into the museum shop and have a look to see what's for sale and what's on display, because what can be the case is that They've got some postcards, for example, or some scarves, or some miniatures of sculptures which are on display in the main exhibition in the museum. And based on what you actually see in the shop, it might be that you see enough to make you feel, actually, I would like to pay the entrance fee, or to go in if it's free to enter, and just use up some time. It won't be wasted, because I've seen in the shop, I do like some of the paintings and sculptures which are on view. What would be in the Suomenlinna Museum, I can only imagine, is all connected to the military history of the last nearly 300 years. I see here already revving the engines to go. There's a little tour extension that you could take. Kaupatori, Suomenlinna and Lonna. Lonna, I think, is a little island. I'm not sure about Kaupatori. But if you feel like doing a little mini tour, if you haven't had enough ferries already, then that's a possibility for you. A little, I'd call it a tuck shop. A little snack shop. Oh, you can get some postcards there. Drinks and sweets, if you so desire. We've got plenty of signs telling us what's where, to help us make up our mind whether we want to take a left or a right. Let's have a look at this one. We've got Piper's Park, a restaurant Valhalla, the Summer Theatre, a glass studio and a submarine to the left. To the right, the King's Gate's Great Courtyard. Gosh, the sun is blinding. And a few other things. Oh, I want to go to both. Which way to go?